calling this Frank McNary, Commissioner of Water Pollution Control Authority, Town of Trumbull, calling to order the November 20th, 2024 meeting of the Water Pollution Control Commission. I ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Frank McNary.
Here.
Tom Kelly.
Here.
Bruce Elstein. John Green.
Here.
Can I have one of the commissioners call for a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Have a show of votes for unanimous consent.
Wherever it is there. Sure.
I don't see you, John.
I'm not on. I mean,
So
That's,
in this,
I'm voting yes, though.
Okay, well,
Frank,
Margaret, does that work?
yes, in this case, you don't have to raise hands. You just can call for unanimous consent and they can verbally say yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So, moving on to new business, as some of you may recall that we had the force main tested downstream of the replaced force main coming out of the Beardsley Park pump station. And Vanessa McPherson of Arcadis is here to present along with two of her colleagues, Scott Haynes and Sean Mitchell, both of Arcadis, and then the company that performed the testing of the pipe from Xylem, which is Nathan Wilson, Logan Straley, Ashen McNeely, David Smith, and Michael Zhao. And if there's anybody else from Xylem, you mentioned possibly another person joining, can they please introduce themselves?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is George Varga. I'm sitting with Michelle Zhao in our Toronto office. I'm the Director of Data Analysis and Monitoring.
Thank you. I guess, Bill, do you want to go first, or is it turn it over to Vanessa?
Turn it over to Vanessa.
Vanessa, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I think at this point, I'm actually going to turn it over. It sounds like Logan Straley of Pure Technologies has some slides that he's going to walk us through that provide a summary of the inspection report, which we've received and reviewed. I think that full report will be issued to the full commission after this meeting today, but Logan will walk us through the summary and we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Vanessa. Hopefully everyone can hear me all right. Cool, so I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to run through some slides that's put together to discuss kind of the overall condition or inspection of the force main. So thank you guys for the opportunity to do this. So we're discussing the inspection that occurred on Beardsley force main. This was an inspection that happened with you guys back in late May of 2024. This inspection used our 24D pipe tower electromagnetic tool to inspect about 1.5 miles of your force main. So the map on the right-hand side there is a general overview of your entire pipeline. The section in white at the top there is the section of HDPE. That section was not covered during this inspection. So we're specifically looking at the two sections of ductile iron pipe, which is a newer and older section in red and blue there. So this inspection, purpose of this inspection was to locate and identify pipes with wall thinning or wall loss. An important thing to understand with the pipe diver tool is that there is a minimum detection limit we have, which is 3" by 3" by 30% wall loss. So anything less than that, we're not going to have a tremendous amount of confidence calling out. Anything greater than that, we do have confidence calling out. So actual inspection began at the Beardsley pump station for you guys. So the pipe diver itself was inserted at a bypass connection. The bottom photo there kind of shows a general overview of the insertion. You can see the bypass setup on the left-hand side there, the bypass pump in the middle, and the water truck on the right-hand side there, which was used for supplying water to the actual bypass pump itself. So how it worked was the pipe diver was inserted into the bypass connection point. The bypass was then sealed and connected with the bypass pump. And once everything was confirmed ready, the pump was then turned on to force the pipe diver into the actual pipeline. After the pipe diver was inserted, the bypass pump was turned off, and the pump station pumps were the sole driver of pipe diver at that point, and were dialed in to achieve the tool speed of about 1 foot per second for the duration of the inspection. The pipe diver was then run through the entire main until it reached our planned extraction point, which was located at Pond Street and Summit Street. This point is a gravity transition point where the force main dumps into a discharge, into a gravity section for you guys. We used a custom bar screen at this location to prevent the pipe diver itself from actually entering the gravity section of this system. So the photo on the left-hand side there is the actual bar screen that would have been set and put in place over the entire duration of the inspection. The pipe diver, which is the tool in the center, or photoed in the center there, would then be run into that bar screen. Once the tool was confirmed to have arrived at extraction, both the bar screen and the pipe diver itself would be removed. And after all personnel and all equipment were cleared, the pump station would then be allowed to return to standard operations. The pipe diver is run twice on back-to-back days. This was done to ensure repeatability and analyzability of the data. After the runs were completed, the data was reviewed and confirmed that it was repeatable, was analyzable, and was accepted. At this point, the inspection team will be demobilized and the analysis process would be started. For the initial analysis results, we found 0 electromagnetic anomalies consistent of wall loss were detected during these inspection. These electromagnetic anomalies are the typical areas of wall loss as seen by Pure Technologies through our calibration testing. We did find 1 pipe which was identified with an anomaly that was detected around the full circumference of the pipe, but only for a short span of the pipe. Typically, when we're finding defects of this nature, it's related to some kind of undocumented feature, such as a tapping sleeve, tapping valve, something that may have added some additional metallic component to the pipe. Those results were then shared with Arcadis, who then asked us to take a deeper dive into the actual result, or into the data itself, but this time specifically targeting anomalies which may be related to the past failures that you guys have experienced on your main. It's my understanding that you guys have had several failures on this main that have been connected to microbial-induced corrosion, MIC. So this time, when we took a deeper dive into the analysis, this time we were specifically targeting that kind of defect. So from that deep dive, we found 52 areas of signal variations that were identified on the bottom of 49 different pipes. You have a map on your right-hand side there. It kind of gives you a general overview of your main and highlights where each of those different areas, or each of those different pipes with signal variations are located. It's important to understand that due to the complexities of the electromagnetic data, the exact cause of some of these signal variations is unknown and can range anywhere from these potential wall loss anomalies related to your previous failures to potential debris buildup in the pipe, positioning of the tool as it moved through your main, or even some kind of pipe property variations that could be directly from manufacturing. The reason I want to bring that to your attention is that moving forward, if any additional external verification investigation work will be performed on it, the possibility of finding these defects could be low, but it's still be worthwhile to do the investigation to ultimately know what is causing these signal variations. So again, map on the right-hand side there, you can see a different kind of a random distribution of these signal variations over your entire main. Some of these locations may be easier to dig at than others, all things to keep in mind moving forward. Going to finish up with our recommendations. So it's our understanding that following your previous failures, there has been a change in your operating conditions to mitigate the risk of any MIC-induced corrosion occurring along the invert. Based off what we're seeing in the electromagnetic data and based off of this mitigation steps moving forward, we're recommending you guys continue to operate with these updated operating conditions. We're also recommending you guys consider performing some kind of additional investigation work, whether it is through chemical injections to further mitigate the risk of any MIC-related corrosion occurring, or performing some kind of transient pressure monitoring or acoustic inspection, all done in an effort to deepen the understanding of your overall condition of your main. Finishing up, we are recommending that you guys reinspect in 10 years to reassess the condition of your force main, or reinspect at a time a tool comes to market which has been proven and validated to better identify the anomalies related to your, better identify the defects related to the failures you guys have experienced in the past. With that, that's kind of all the slides. So if you guys have any questions, please let us know.
This is Frank McNary. I have a question. There's 52 potential variances in the pipe or weaknesses in the pipe. Would it make sense? Can you, how close can you locate these anomalies?
We're pretty good at locating individual pipes. The individual anomalies would be, I believe, are called out in the actual report. So we're pretty confident in finding those locations. The problem is finding what those anomalies are actually.
So, because we could do, one of the things we could do is dig up the pipe and test it for thickness externally, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no,
You could.
I'll jump in just 1 second here. Sorry to interrupt. So, Chairman Regnieri, you may remember a couple years ago, we did dig up the pipe on Seltsum and did BEM testing. We wrapped the exterior of the pipe and measured the thickness from the outside with BEM technology. So we revisited those locations from the prior testing, and they actually do align pretty well with some of the areas that Pure has identified in red here, where they did see some signal variation upon a deeper review of the data. And in that BEM testing where we did dig up the pipe and look at it, we didn't see any widespread wall loss or anything concerning at that time. So that is very reassuring.
That was part of this study?
That was done prior to this study.
Okay.
So when you say widespread wall loss where a narrow section of the pipe could be thinning, you had indicated that you're looking for 3x3 sections that had lost 30% or more. Obviously you didn't find any of those, which is good. What does it really mean where a narrow section of the pipe could be thinning? You were saying like literally like a 1-inch strip of the pipe along the bottom, because you're measuring the invert,
Yes.
could be decayed, and you would not be able to detect that with absolute certainty because it doesn't meet your 3x3 30% criteria, but it could be indicative of significant loss in a very small narrow area. Is that what it says?
Yes. So from what we're seeing in the past, you guys have seen some kind of microbial-induced corrosion, which has basically chiseled a small, very thin channel along the invert of your pipe. Because of that, we're not seeing enough wall loss to actually be able to confidently detect it with our tool. So we called out these areas of signal variations in an effort to try to help you guys potentially identify how to do some investigation work into these areas. But ultimately, we don't have enough confidence to know exactly what these variations are calling out. It's a this defect is very unique. I've been doing this for 7 years now, and I've not seen another defect like this.
What
Trumbull sewage
specifically
is different than everybody else's? I don't know. But So the good news is you didn't find major flaws, but what you're saying is you can't guarantee that these flaws that are outside your tolerances are not, you can't say they're not significant. On the other hand, I don't think we want to dig up 52 holes in along Sylvan Avenue in Bridgeport, which is where it looks like most of that is occurring, if I read this right.
Yeah, looks
Bill,
like
what are you recommending, Bill, in terms of this as output of this? What
I can take that on. I think there are a couple other things that I'm hoping that the Pure team can reiterate that are stated in the report, which were not covered on these slides. And I know that the commission hasn't had a chance to review the full report, but I know in our prior conversations, Pure has stated that they feel confident that the pipeline is not at risk for any imminent failures. And I don't want to speak for you guys. So maybe if you can talk to the confidence in your review of the data and the analysis and how well the inspection went, just to reassure the commission that we as a group don't feel that the pipeline is at imminent risk at this point.
Yes, we are confident in our data. We are confident that we collected the best possible data as available to us from our review. We're very confident in our data. Because of the mitigation steps you guys have already taken in to eliminate some of the low flow velocities within your force main to mitigate some of the microbial induced corrosion areas from occurring, we're confident that you're not going to have a continuation of any of these defects. So it's going to be a matter of, is anything existing, and finding those to moving forward from there. But in terms of operating under its current conditions, we are confident that it's in good shape.
So, Bill, the policy changes you've made in terms of, I assume that this is essentially a tuning of the system. And if I understood correctly what Logan was saying, you've tuned the system so instead of operating at high velocity, then very low velocity, you've tuned the system to operate at a more consistent velocity to hopefully reduce these low volume downtimes. Is that how I interpret this?
Yes, and also it also changes the pressure. You don't have the pressure waves that you used to have.
Which we
'cause
know
when
from
you
other
turn the pumps
failures are
on, you
a
have a
lot
whole
of fun
different
too.
pressure regime.
Okay.
I have
So
a
the
couple
long and short of this is keep an eye on it, but nothing's there's no imminent project that needs to be undertaken as a direct result of this.
So when you
Is that correct, Bill or Vanessa? Is that your recommendation here? I mean, is that what I'm hearing?
That is what we're hearing. There's no additional pipe replacement or lining or rehabilitation that's being recommended at this time. But another part of our scope, the Arcadis scope, is to complete a transient analysis of the pipeline. We had done an initial review in response to some of the emergency repairs that were done. So that transient analysis needs to be finished. And I suspect that out of that will come some recommendations for locations where we want to consider additional combination air release vacuum breaker valves, at which time we could combine that with more RAP or BEM testing of specific locations that were identified as having signal variance through this internal inspection. So I think there will be a project, but the project will likely not have widespread pipe replacement or lining as a component of it.
Okay, good.
Tom, you had a question?
I had a couple questions. And
Oh, it was Bill, sorry.
the color coding in your report for the confidence code.
Yes.
What's the key there? What color is what?
Green is good. Yellow is okay. Anything that would be in red would be poor, low confidence.
And then there was a large section that was omitted because of the not analyzed due to noise and electromagnetic data. It was like 720 feet.
Yeah, so I can point that section out using this map here. So it's roughly in this location along here. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yep.
So at this location, what we believe happened is this is a location of an ARV. So we believe air has built up at that location during the inspections, and the pipe itself actually transitioned into gravity. So the pipe diver essentially, I previously mentioned that we're looking for a tool speed around 1 foot per second. We believe that what happened here was the pipeline transitioned into gravity, the tool speed sped up significantly, and then basically it's kind of like a water slide, led all the way down into extraction. So that's why that section was omitted, was because it's not operating. I don't want to say not operating ideally, but it wasn't. We wouldn't be able to collect data there.
And then where was that anomaly that you mentioned?
Michelle, do you have the location by any chance?
I can look it up.
Thank you. I believe it was.
Is this a circumferential anomaly?
Yeah, the one that you in the report you said there was one anomaly.
Yeah, I think that's near the new pipe installation,
Oh, yeah.
like the transition between the new and the old.
Okay.
So when we're saying possibly external factors, maybe that was used for a potential connection point or bypass point, whatever it may be.
So that's where the anomaly was?
Yes.
That was at station 6532.
Okay.
Roughly 58 pipes from insertion.
Thank you, Michelle.
You know, going back to the map, there was a blue, a red, and a white. What's the red? I mean, the white is the plastic pipe, and the red. What's the red?
So here is the map. So the white section here is going to be HDPE. The red section is going to be the new section of ductile that was installed. And the the blue is the older section of ductile that was already existing.
Bill, we did that as part of the.
Well, the red and the white was part of our previous project of replacing.
So we replaced. We didn't replace with plastic. We replaced with ductile iron.
We replaced the ductile iron, and then when we were only going to do the red section, and then when we actually got in there and we were able to actually see the pipe, we were able to confirm that it was in bad condition, and we added the HDPE.
Oh, okay.
Turnaround time.
So the red was the original plan,
Yep,
and the white was the change order. Okay.
that's correct.
And Vanessa, I have a question for you. What's a transient analysis versus what we just heard about?
So the transient analysis is looking at the operation of the force main under different conditions from the pump station that could cause pressure waves. Ultimately, the worst case is like a vapor pressure or a burst pressure. And so you're looking at variations based on like a rapid pump shutdown, a quick pump startup that could impact the pipeline. So it's really a desktop analysis that we would do to look for points of concern.
And that would be purely operational, not what's in the ground. I mean, it affects what's in the ground, but it's okay. Are there any other questions? Needless to say, it's good news, and with that, I think we'll conclude this portion of our meeting and move on to the next. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanessa.
Thanks very much.
So Bill, Scott's still on, but Bill, I assume you're pleased with the results, right?
Yeah, it's you know, I guess I'm always doubtful.
Yeah.
You know?
I read a draft of the report that you sent me, and I came up with the same conclusions. It looks like it still could happen.
Yes, we're not out of the woods yet. I just has to make my retirement, that's all.
Well, that's what, 10 years or something?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. So let's move on to new business, and that's Burns Construction. There's an invoice Bill's going to speak to us about.
Yeah, so we had when the forest main broke on Whitney at the corner of Broadway, we had to go back and repave it. There was a 10-inch high pressure gas line, a 6-inch high pressure gas line, all intermingled with our force main. Consequently, they were a little cautious in doing their compaction, and what happened was we had the trench actually deflected. They had to go back, cut it out, recompact it, and repave it. And that came out to $7,013.91.
And
Right.
it's in your opinion that's not bad workmanship, that was unavoidable
No,
on their part?
it was really the best they could do under the circumstances. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, trenches have a tendency to deflect, no matter how much you try to compact them. And if you would have seen the way that the gas mains crossed each other and the force main, I don't blame them for being a little cautious.
Do you ever
They did
use
compact. They did do a compaction, but it's still settled. They couldn't get underneath the gas mains to compact it. So that kind of stuff settled out.
Well, you were there when
It-
they did it, right? So you
I
were
was.
comfortable that they were doing the job that at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Bill, do you ever use Flow-Fill, some of those products? The
Yes, we
liquid-
have, but you might be digging this up again and wants to go through flowable fill. But
Well, you
we
can
have
dig up
used,
Flow-Fill.
we have at different times used that.
I don't have any questions. Does anybody else have any questions? With that, can I have a motion to approve this invoice?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
I hear a yes for unanimous consent. Yes. Motion passed, Margaret.
Thank you.
Well, before we move on to the next subject, which is the election of officers, Bill, I wanted to thank you for putting together the tour of the various pump stations. It was very helpful. I found troubling too, but helpful to go see these stations and see what condition they're in. Pretty concerned about that one over by Canoe Brook Lake, so maybe you'll prioritize that one.
Yes, sir.
So with that, we're going to call for an election of officers, and I don't know, do we have enough to do this, Margaret?
We do.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll move to renominate Frank Frigneri as chairman.
Thanks, John.
You're
Second.
welcome.
Second. We have a vote, please. Yes. Okay. Reelected. 2-term. So we time out. Is there term limits, Mr. Nugent?
No, you can go forever.
Great.
That's our plan.
Who
It's
is
not
our
Frank's
current?
plan, but it's our plan.
Who's the current vice chairman, Margaret? Is it John?
Thought so.
I believe Andy Palo. I don't know that we ever really replaced Andy, did we?
Oh, no. Oh, jeez.
Well, with that, I nominate John Green to be vice chairman.
But I
Okay.
could be wrong on that. Maybe because we had Gelderman become the secretary.
That's right. Yeah.
So I could be wrong on that, but
I think
Oh.
you're right. I don't think we did replace Andy when he unfortunately passed away.
Well, we're nominating new officers anyway, so
correct.
Yes.
Well, Tom,
Second to that motion.
you have a vote, please? Say yes. Yes.
Yes.
We all, John, you're
I
back
guess-
in the game.
Yeah, I guess
Thank you.
John's not leaving either.
Well, we'll see.
I would like to nominate Bruce Elstein as secretary.
an
No, he's not
abstention.
here.
I'll second that.
I'll go along with that.
Oh, yeah, right. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, have a vote, please. Let's put it this way. He was a big pusher to do it too. The last secretary.
That's
So
right.
with that, we have our 3 officers.
Hey, I just want to jump back at Bill. So this past Saturday, it seems like you had a large crowd of people for the tour, right?
We did.
Is it more than 2 vehicles worth of people?
No, we put everybody on the senior citizen bus.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
That was,
Good idea.
yeah, it
Yes.
actually helped speed up the whole meeting, because if we had to wait for 12 people, 12 cars to all converge at the same place, it would have been disastrous.
Yeah, or at least 6 cars, but yeah, right.
So
Yes.
which boards were represented, Bill?
So we had we did have WPCA,
I know Bruce was there.
Bruce was there, and then we had town council and one person from the Board of Finance.
Who's there from the Board of Finance?
Vinny DeGenero.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But Bill also has another one on the 23rd.
Yeah,
Oh, you do? Oh,
yes, we have one more. And are you coming, Tom?
I didn't know it was the 23rd. I'll have to see if I'll check with my wife and see. Last week I was given the COVID shot, and I'll see what's going on in the 23rd.
Yeah,
If
we
you
have.
can't make it, I can always do a special one just for you. You know what I mean?
Thank you very much.
It's worth seeing. It really helps, I think.
It actually
I-
does help to see the difference between Beardsley that's been renovated with what appears to the lay observer as a very impressive set of infrastructure compared to some of the others, including the one that Frank was talking about, one of the older ones that obviously on a much smaller scale, but needs a lot of work.
that's Wildwood, right? That we're talking
Yeah,
about?
Wildwood.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Bill, there's 3 pump stations you identified you want to get going on the 30% design.
So I'm waiting for Titan Bond to get back to me with the price, and for Wright Pierce.
Okay, because so by next meeting, you think we'll be able to address it?
I've told them they need to have a meeting. They need to have their numbers by next meeting.
Okay, good. Because I mean, let's face it, all 3 of them have been doing good work for the town, so I don't think we get hurt with any of them. The next topic on new business is to approve the 2025 meeting schedule, which I'm sure you sent it out, Margaret, but I didn't look at it. Any way you could share your screen and show it?
Hmm.
I have to depend on Bill.
Yeah, Bob. So was that? I have to pull up the backup.
Yeah, it's in the backup on the agenda.
Yeah. And I'll share my screen.
Here it comes.
Get bigger. Can you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I can, but
Yeah, we can see it.
So I believe that the only time that there was not the fourth Wednesday is November 19th, which is
and December 17th.
December 17th. Otherwise, it's all the fourth Wednesday.
Right. I don't think we want a meeting on the 25th of December. It would be the 24th, Christmas Eve. I don't have any questions, and does anybody else?
No,
Can
it's,
can I have a
I should check it
motion to-
against the Yukon schedule, but I haven't done that yet. So that's right. Go ahead.
You'll just
Well,
have to get one of
that
your
just means the meetings
replacements.
have to be over in an hour, that's all. The
Not
women
if
are
you're
on
going
in
to
a
the
little
game.
while. Yep. All right,
So-
I'll move to approve.
Have a second,
Second.
please. Have a
Second.
vote, yes.
Mhm.
Motion passed, unanimous consent. Now we're gonna go to old business, and that would be, Bill will speak to the Old Town Reservoir Avenue Pump Station, now that we know where it is.
Yeah, Old Town. So the Old Town and Reservoir Pump Station are online and operating, and everything is. The fences are up. We got some landscaping to do on Old Town, but everything else is paved. Moving along. Yeah, we've actually, and the force main is actually online, the new force main.
So the only open on that contract, the force main contract, which is your next thing, is to pay from, you said curb to curb?
Yeah, curb to curb. We're gonna try to winter over. We're gonna try to some of the spots that they need to touch up for the winter to make the winter, but we're gonna hopefully get through the winter and then pave in the spring. So any large settling settles before we pave it. We don't could do
Is
it
that,
once.
is that part of our budget or part of, because that road needed to be paved anyway, or is that part of the town's paving budget?
That's part of the budget of the project.
Because otherwise Bridgeport would have paid half, right?
Right, right. But because we had to replace the force main, they get a freebie.
Because that road definitely was near its end of its useful life.
Yes.
We're next going to have an update from Bill and Jim on the Trumbull Town Center.
So engineers had reached out to me. They plan on doing a pipelining of the 6-inch line. They were hoping to line it while the flow was low, but with the rain coming tomorrow, it may not always be low. But I've never seen the Pequannock River that low. You could walk across that stream right now without a problem.
So, Bill, did they have to construct a bypass to do this?
They will probably have to bypass their line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So-
Because they got to take it out of service. They have,
Can't they,
No, they
can't they go at night with a pump truck and a tanker truck or a Baker tank? And
it depends on how they want to do it. That's all up to them, but somehow has to be bypassed. Whether they go at low flow and pump into a truck.
I don't know how long it takes to line, so that may not be practical, but
Right. But that's for them to come up with that solution.
I don't think we don't really have any kind of timeline from them on this, do we?
No.
So they told you what they're going to do, but they didn't give you a timing?
Well, they were in a hurry to sign a contract, but I haven't heard when they actually start. I will reach out to them to see what's going on, but
Yeah, I can try to follow up. The lawyers don't usually know this kind of stuff, but I mean, Sonicson is the guy, right? The
Right.
engineer who
Right.
he should know, I would think.
I'll reach out to him. He's pretty responsive to me. I mean, he kind of knows what's going on.
Well, with that, there's no further old or new business to discuss. And with that, I'd call for a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
A second,
Close enough. I'll second.
a vote. And before we part, everybody have a great Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah, you too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye.